Well, I gotta say it's been a while. I feel like, well, maybe not, but I was gonna say I feel like it's been a while since we've done the episode live here. But it's March 28th, and this is gonna be our week's episode here of the Big Gold Belt podcast. I'm your host, and am accompanied by my guy, Hill Will Mahoney. We got a lot to talk about today. How's it first off? But how's it going there? We got so much to cover.
A lot to talk about today. Did some stuff happen this week? Did some people get some panties in a bunch? Did some people get outraged? Did some people get buried? I mean, I don't know. Some things might have happened, and I think we may have a lot to break down this week too, James, right here on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. How's it going, my man?
It's good, dude. It's so funny because like a lot of like I wasn't so entwined with social media this week. And just for anybody that knows, my guy, Dr. M, who will probably make his return soon on the show, runs the social media page for me, or for us, shall I say. And, so he's doing a lot of engagement, stuff like that. So sometimes I'm kind of missing like the undertone of like things that I think are good. And I get on there and I'm like, wait, you guys don't like this? Or you guys are like in an uproar? So, tying the two together sometimes feels like I don't even know what I'm watching. So once I actually start engaging and trying to get the topics ready for the week, I'm just like, oh yeah, we got some things to talk about because, and I got to be honest too, there were some aspects of this week's programming in WWE that I was a little naive about for a second, but oh god, it's a lot. But I think to start off with some positivity, we talked about a lot on the show, and it has been confirmed that officially WrestleMania 35 main event will be an all women's main event for the first time ever.
Yes, indeed. That's I think where everything started this week, because that was Monday morning that they dropped the bomb to start the cycle of what this week was going to be. But yeah, it's official. It's real.
It's real.
People might have been doubting it. And there was a lot of people being that, what got me was people being like, oh, well, that doesn't mean they're going to close the show. And it's like, come on now. They are making a big deal about this being the first ever women's main event. And they are going to hype that for all it's worth. This is about a media blitz. This is about, advertising. This is about mainstream publicity. The ladies are going to close the show. There is no doubt about that.
To their defense, though, we have definitely been bamboozled about what was going to be main event. And then you'd be like, wait, this match is coming up next? I thought this was the big, because I'm trying to think, which one did I go to? Brock and Taker was at New Orleans, so I didn't go there.
And that was in the middle of the show.
What was Taker's next one after that?
Bray Wyatt.
True.
Remember they had that random Bray Wyatt match, but that wasn't a main event.
That was the thing. Either way, I believe there was a Taker match. I got to think about this. Actually, I'm gonna just go back and research so I can make sure I get this correctly. But there was one for sure they were advertising as the main event, and it wasn't. So,
well, there's definitely, they have a precedent for doing that. It hasn't been quite as common at WrestleMania, but even back in the day, WrestleMania 8, the WWE title match was Ric Flair and Randy Savage, and that went on in the middle of the show. So it just depended. That show was a double main event with that match, and then Hulk Hogan and Sid Justice at the time closed the show. So the Hulkster got to close the show, but the WWE title had to go on early. It just depends. But this is a scenario, unlike no other. There is never going to be another first time for a women's main event at WrestleMania, and for all the hype and publicity they are going to give this, starting the very next morning after they announced it, when they had all three ladies on ESPN. That's the kind of mainstream publicity they're looking for. They are going to have those ladies close the show. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah. Excuse me. To the defense, too, of sometimes I actually, if the tone of the show isn't what they're expecting and they make it audible about how things are, the lineup, I can't be mad because, considering that these shows are getting longer and longer, the tone and momentum definitely plays a part. So, for them to have called audibles in the past absolutely was probably the right decision. But I think there's without a doubt that you let them absolutely close the show for the historical reasons, for the publicity, for the momentum each one of these wrestlers have built over the year. It just makes sense, and I'm glad that they came out and just made it official. And I had confidence that it was going to be that. I had confidence this was going to happen ever since they scouted out that they were going to go back to New York. And upon that, little scout trip that they made, and when they first announced the banner for WrestleMania 35, I mean, the people that was on that trip was Roman Reigns, Ronda Rousey, and Charlotte. So you knew for a fact that this was, just like Ronda said on ESPN, she had no doubt she was going to be in the main event, and I'm sure that was part of the courting to her, getting her in WWE. Is like, look, we're going to do some historic stuff with you.
Oh, and absolutely.
Considering that she made her own history in UFC, the fact that another big time business is saying, "Oh, we absolutely want to." Make sure a lot of this is revolved around you. I think that a lot of that was just pure honesty, which you just knew this was going to be a thing. But yeah, good for them. I'm excited considering what Ronda Rousey did last year at WrestleMania with the energy inside the arena. Absolutely, like it might have been the most energetic the crowd was the entire night. Considering that's going to be cold, a long day. Considering how over Becky is and how good of a performer Charlotte is and how much heat Ronda is and stardom that all three of these ladies bring, it's the way you want your WrestleMania to end that it has not had within the last, maybe since Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah. I would say that between this and the Kofi and Daniel Bryan WWE title match, which was also made official this week on SmackDown, since we got Kofimania officially is going to happen. Yeah. I would say between that match and the ladies, these are the two hottest WrestleMania matches in a long time, where people are really highly invested in them, and they've stumbled upon something that's really struck a chord. You have the historical aspect of what's going to happen with the ladies. You have the great scenario where all three of them bring something to the table. You have Becky as the crowd favorite, the underdog that people have rallied around for months now, waiting for this match with Ronda and all the obstacles she's had to overclimb. You have Charlotte as the queen of this current generation of women, the one that they present as the chosen one, the one that many fear is Vince's hand-picked choice, the blonde girl with the legacy and all that, that's been the dominant woman of that scene of the WWE four horsewomen. Yeah. And then on top of that, then you have Ronda Rousey, the outsider with a legitimate pedigree, with a level of fame that the other two do not have to the mainstream. And so they all bring something to the table that all intertwines perfectly. And it makes it, there is no bigger women's match I can think of that you could do. So many people keep saying that it should only be Becky and Ronda, and I disagree. The addition of Charlotte, I think, adds another layer to it. And as we've discussed here before on the Big Gold Belt podcast, Becky's story all along since last summer has been intertwined with Charlotte's. Yeah. She was the original antagonist. So for everything to come full circle, for everything to come to a pinnacle at WrestleMania, Becky can't just conquer Ronda. She has to conquer Charlotte too. It's all got to be resolved if Becky's going to get her crowning achievement at WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, and to your point that you made some time ago, and kind of to what I was saying earlier, Charlotte and Ronda was the plan since day one. And
absolutely.
And ESPN solidified that. If anybody didn't watch their 3-minute segment that was on there, you can find it on WWE's website or ESPN's website. The captions under each of them once they spoke, is the reason why, because Charlotte is accredited to being Ric Flair's daughter, Ronda Rousey, for ESPN history, and then you get acquainted to Becky Lynch by all her accolades that she's done. Now, I get it. As a wrestling fan, you're just like, she's more than just Ric Flair's daughter, excuse me. But the important thing is that WrestleMania is their big show that they know they're going to have their core fan base. Those people that's paying $5,000-$6,000 to sit in the front row. They know they're going to have those people. But the job of marketing through ESPN is because for the people who are watching to see NCAA highlights that morning or what's going on with UFC this weekend and, you know, big fights that they're planning and what's going on in the boxing world, whatever it may be, how do you draw them quickly enough to put eyes on that?
Exactly. It goes back to that, and that's what you gotta remember. There's the people who only watch wrestling maybe once a year, and WrestleMania might be the only one or two show that they only watch a year because of that name, WrestleMania. And those are the people who aren't following the product all the time, and those are the people that boost that buy rate to higher than any other show of the year. That's the crowd where, you know, if you're talking to your parents or something, or you're talking to someone who doesn't watch all the time, those are the people who are going to be drawn in by something very simple. And the simple thing they're going to be drawn in by is Ronda Rousey's going to wrestle Ric Flair's daughter.
Yep.
That's how that has to be sold to them, is something simple like that. They don't know who Becky Lynch is, but that hook of Ric Flair's daughter versus Ronda Rousey can get them in the door, and then they can meet Becky Lynch. And then once they meet Becky Lynch, maybe they like Becky Lynch and they like the underdog story there. But you got to cast that darn line in different ways to get different parts of the crowd in. And to get those people, Ric Flair's daughter versus Ronda Rousey, that resonates. Yeah, that resonates, and just like that.
Two things to add to that too. Number one, I was kind of like, wait, it's only this segment's only 3 minutes, but at the same time, I thought about, I was like, oh, it's brilliant because one, you know, in the social media world that we live in, people would like this getting straight to the point. You know, they like these short 10-second videos of funny stuff or just, you know, 1 minute. Whatever it may be, like the attention span nowadays is much shorter. For them to nail every aspect of who these people are and what are they doing in 3 minutes and introduce them to them is like a movie trailer to an extent because they literally created the plot, they created the significance of it, the historical value, and it had a little bit of something for everybody. Now we know who Ronda Rousey is, obviously. I think majority of sports fans know who Ronda Rousey is. I think Ronda Rousey is definitely up there with the names of Ric Flair, so that gives Charlotte, you know, a pass, sort of say, of who she is, and the significance of that. I mean, granted, I haven't seen much of LeBron James' son play basketball, but I know that's LeBron James, so LeBron James' son, so he might be good. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then Becky. So the thing about Becky is, well, how do you resonate with Becky? If you look at her accolades, there's like, oh, well, she's won the Royal Rumble, an event that's been around for years. You know what I mean? And then they list her accolades of championships she's won. So you're like, oh, I don't know who she is, but she literally must be a big deal. She's in a company of these two. Yeah. And, you know, that's looking from, again, from the outside perspective. And everybody wants to know is who's fighting who, you know, and that's the term that people were going to use. Like, who is Ronda Rousey fighting? Oh, Ric Flair's daughter. Oh, yeah. What is that? Like, is that a thing? I didn't know he had a daughter.
Exactly. Like, I want to see that. That gets them to buy the show. Once they buy the show, then it doesn't matter anymore that she's Ric Flair's daughter. At that point, she's Charlotte Flair, and she gets to show what she can do. At that point, they meet Becky Lynch and they find out about the man and they see what she can do. They see the ladies in the main event. You're just using that hook, not as a way of disrespect. You're just using that as a hook to get people to put their money down to buy the show. That's all it is. It's not something to get worked up over, but people want to turn everything into some sort of drama. But like you said, when you're trying to sell a show and you got, you know, enough time for a short little video that someone's going to watch on their phone or something, you got to do what you got to do and put it in easily digestible, bite-sized pieces like that.
Yeah. Yep. So I think they absolutely nailed it with that there. I'm definitely think that's the way to go. Did I freeze on the screen?
You did freeze on the screen. I can hear you perfectly fine, though, so let's keep going.
Let's see if I can get myself moving a little bit again.
I'm just seeing you looking down at the keyboard, I'm assuming, or the controls.
I'm just looking at my notes, seeing what we're talking about next. That's all. That's all. And I am going to come back to you in 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Anyway, we'll move to the next topic. So, what else did we got? So we talked about that. We talked about the oh God, how could I forget? Whew. SmackDown Live this week. I got
the biggest show of the week. Woo. That set the world on fire, and just from where I'm sitting, God, lives might have been ruined. people are doing hashtag cancel WWE Network. People aren't going to WrestleMania. They canceling their trips or something.
That's my point too. I was going to make a minute ago. Those uncasual fans that's going to watch WrestleMania, do you know how they're going to purchase it? Not the network. That's a $60 buy. Yeah, that's going to happen because the old school mentality of how to watch the big show is to order the pay-per-view. Right. And we have came a long ways from that, but believe it or not, that mentality is still very prominent in all of combat sports. That's the way to watch the big thing, is the pay-per-view. Where are they going to show the big fight? How can I order the big fight? So believe it or not, the marketing towards those people is as significant as the casual fans getting them in seats. So good for them in the matter of doing it. And they still got about how many more days?
We are down to maybe 10 days or
so? About 10 days. So
10 days.
I wouldn't be surprised if more stuff's coming. And quite frankly, we talked about the women doing ESPN tour. Roman Reigns has been doing them too.
Of course.
So they're hitting the ground running and getting the last minute publicity and reach out there. But yeah, SmackDown Live, and Rome was on fire, as it was apparently Escape from Pompeii for all of WWE fans, because man, I see again. I at first I had initial thoughts, and then I went back and correlated with Twitter. I was just like, all right, well played. But then I was like, so let's talk about this. There was only 3 matches for SmackDown this week.
Right.
The New Day gauntlet match that ended up getting Kofi's ticket to Kofimania. Cool. Storyline with that. Cool. Whatever you wanted to be. They went through everybody. Usos did something pretty cool in basically forfeiting, which was good for them. I really love how the Usos being booked, by the way. But yeah, Kofi going to WrestleMania, presumably to face
Daniel Bryan.
That's that. In the beginning of that day, there was going to be a #1 contenders match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So you've seen people such as the likes as Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Naomi, and I don't know, somebody else. Oh, and Carmella. Carmella particularly is the one I seen the video lobbying how she was going to become the #1 contender so she can face Asuka, who does not have an opponent. Asuka, your current SmackDown Women's Championship champion, and she doesn't have a match booked for WrestleMania. So this was the way to get the #1 contender. None of these contenders to me was the match that interested me at all. I don't think there was anybody of the sort that was gonna, and that's fine. If somebody steps up to the plate and puts on a great show, cool. But as far as for me, I didn't see anything there that was going to just do it for me. As far as I'm concerned, they have a one-way ticket to the Rumble. That's the Battle Royal, whatever you want to call it. That hasn't been announced. That will be announced because people want to have stuff to do. And yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that they were on the one-way ticket to that. But if you watch SmackDown Live, this #1 contenders fatal 4-way did not happen. And apparently Charlotte comes to the ring, and then now you got to tell me if this was right, because again I watched this on Hulu, so I missed it. Right. Charlotte came out in gear and made an announcement. When she came out in gear, I was like, all right, what's happening here? And then the commercial presumably happened, and then Asuka comes out. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what happened here to make that become a thing. And then next thing you know, the ring announcer is like, oh, this is for the SmackDown
Women's championship. Yep, they just threw it out there.
And
they just threw it out there. They dropped the 4-way.
Yeah.
They dropped the #1 contendership, and they're just like, bam, Charlotte and Asuka for the title right now.
Bang. Yeah, and even the announcers was like, what in the world is happening? Of course they knew because but they played to it as shocked as I was too. But I mean, so that's the thing. That happened. The question is, I mein, how did they do the SmackDown Women's Division wrong? Was this the right call? Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. What is your thoughts?
Oh, I've gotten so much heat over this and fruit thrown at me, and I have a lot of thoughts on everything that went down. And some of them are not popular on the interwebs with some of these people. So let me break it down like this. So for everyone's clear, so they did that. They do the match. They went through a commercial break. I think 2 commercial breaks, actually. They had a heck of a match, Charlotte and Asuka.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of their WrestleMania match. A great match. If you have not seen it, I recommend checking it out. And the end result was Charlotte hooked on that figure 8, and Asuka tapped again, just like at WrestleMania. And Charlotte is now the SmackDown Women's Champion, on top of also being in the WrestleMania main event already in the 3-way against Ronda and Becky. So she won the belt. But yeah, they threw this up there out of nowhere. Now, the first thing I got to mention here is this. You were already saying it too, James, going into this. When this happened on Tuesday night, we were 12 days out from WrestleMania. 12 days out with Asuka not having an opponent or anything. They were alluding to this 4-way, but it's like, you're less than 2 weeks away from the show, and you don't even have a match for her or anything building short of just like, she's had the stuff going on with Sonya and Mandy, and I kept thinking maybe they do like a 2-on-1 handicap match since she just took on Mandy at the last pay-per-view at the Fast Lanes.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do that, but here's the thing. If they had gone through with the 4-way, and no matter who they would have made #1 contender, no matter what the scenario would have been, the time wasn't invested in that match. The time wasn't invested in a feud for Asuka. Nothing had been set up. At the absolute best case scenario, that match would have been on the pre-show. Yeah. It would have been a pre-show match, the SmackDown Women's title. So my feeling is this. They didn't have a match set up. They didn't have something ready to go for Asuka. So they switched gears, and the WWE took all their chips and betted them on their main event and said, you know what? Instead of doing this other women's title match, let's put the SmackDown Women's title on Charlotte. We put it in the main event, so both titles are in the main event. So all the focus as far as women's championship gold outside of the new ladies tag titles is all focused on the main event. They're betting everything on the 3 ladies they are going to have all eyes on them. And I can't argue with that. It's your biggest show of the year with a first-time ever main event that has the potential to get more publicity than just about anything out there. Yeah. So my thinking is this. You're damn right. You bet your chips on that and you go all in on it to take a line from another company. You put it all on the line on that match. Because otherwise, like I said, what are you going to do? You're going to have a match for the Blue Ladies title on the pre-show? It's like, what's the point? I think there's more notoriety to have that in the main event.
Well, also, too, if the stakes are so high for one, I guess you have to wonder, well, as an uncasual fan, well, what's up with this other one?
Right. Right.
Why is this just seems so insignificant? Also, too, you make a really good point about like what you're putting emphasis on the main event. And you only raise the stakes higher by doing that, by putting in another championship. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right there. I think something else you said that really struck a nerve. Yeah, I would think too. Also, with so much emphasis on one, if you don't make the other one as equal as important, then you also kind of like taking a step back from the whole perspective of what you guys have been trying to accomplish with the revolution period. So it doesn't hurt to remove a championship from somebody as more as it is to keep it on that person and make that match work for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like the call. I absolutely love it, and I love the implications of afterwards, sort of, but we'll see. Also, something else I was going to bring two things I want to bring up too. It's funny, Becky Lynch is kind of like pretty much saying what everyone else is saying too. Like everyone knew ever since Ronda Rousey signed that her and Charlotte was the plan since day one. Even though as hot as Asuka was at the moment, and even being the current champion at the time, I think she was when Ronda Rousey signed. Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
It was always the plan, and Becky Lynch just happened to be the change in the plan because of the momentum that she's gained. It is incredible how, as much as emphasis as they putting on the women's division, something that I don't think that WWE is getting credit for is that they're putting a lot of stake in the WWE universe. The fact of the fact of Becky Lynch being so popular is also very much accredited to what she's doing, but also the buzz that she's creating amongst the fans. I've always been a day one fan. I can tell you at WrestleMania 32, walk around with Becky Lynch shirt that no one else was walking around with Becky Lynch gear, unless it was, you know, a lot of females per se, but everyone's all of a sudden her fans because everyone was so high on Sasha and Bayley at the time that you know, to be a fan of the person, you're a fan, but to create this, you know, to go to the upper echelon of fandom now, which she's created in a year, and not even just a year, since Survivor Series, I want to say the Nia Jax incident.
Yeah, that was in November.
Yes, it was Survivor Series. Then
yeah.
Talk about pure organic work, hitting the ground, hitting every element of self publicity, and capturing a moment to getting yourself to a point. I mean, that's how you do it. And then, you know, you look at that. So that's one aspect, but then look at, you know, Kofi Kingston as well too. The three of them are social media geniuses and gurus. They a part of their success is well beyond the ring is, you know, the things they do on their YouTube channels and other little short things. And, you know, it's capturing fans to a point that this ultimately, and you know, I don't know if it was just something that they had planned, or is it something like, hey, these guys are, you know, they look up to Kofi and they want Kofi to have this moment to a point that they invested into. We're going to make sure we get Kofi there at a point. And look how that has created such energy and buzz towards him that now look at him in his moment. So it's really remarkable that WWE is actually listening to what the fans are saying. Not in the aspect of like, we want you guys to do this, but they're actually looking at it like, oh, this like pure organic positivity and energy towards this movement right here. We're going to go with that. This is the change. We're going to go with that because let's be honest now, Becky and Nia Jax could have been something hot, but it was so big that they said, oh, this is beyond just this. This is WrestleMania caliber. Becky Lynch Road to WrestleMania started at Survivor Series, where most people start in January. Hers was way beyond. Beyond. Yeah. And even before Ronda Rousey's Road to WrestleMania, which started last year, WrestleMania, that Becky Lynch is with just the fan support or WWE Universe support, Survivor Series all the way, and it's just cool to see that that they are you know, taking an eye to that. But okay, so look, end of the night, WrestleMania 35 is over. How does this all plan out?
Well, one quick thing just to finish up on, because the big backlash that I kept seeing this week was the combination of Asuka got done wrong, and then also the SmackDown women got done wrong because now their title's totally out of the picture. That was the other little backlash that was going on all week. It's not just Asuka that got screwed over here. It was all the SmackDown ladies. It was Sonya. It was Naomi. It was Mandy. It was Carmella. It was all of them. And yeah, there is something to that. There is something to that. But something folks got to remember, even with this being possibly an 8 7 whatever hour show that we're talking about, however ridiculously long the show is going to be on a week from Sunday, everybody cannot be on the show, even at that
yeah, they
length.
can. Yeah, they can.
You can throw them on battle royals. What's the point? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta pick who you're gonna highlight. You gotta pick who you're gonna give time to, and just you can't always shoehorn everybody in there, and everyone can't be in a meaningful role. I think the biggest thing that got me was people. I had so many people in my mentions this week straight up just saying, Asuka got buried. Asuka got buried. She needs to leave. You know, she needs to go to that AEW, you know.
That's it.
She needs to leave like everybody else. Like they always say, she needs to leave. And it's like, do you remember 1 year ago where Asuka was for last year's WrestleMania? She was in the title match against Charlotte. She had WrestleMania, a big, huge WrestleMania moment as far as the women goes last year. Yeah. So it's not like she hasn't had her opportunity at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. You know, and she was just the champion. She was just the champion at the beginning of this week. And here's what comes at it. This is where it gets me. So people are saying she's buried. She lost to one of the WrestleMania main eventers. When is losing to someone who is main eventing WrestleMania a horrible thing? Come on now, people. I mean, geez, people just whack like that.
I gotta just say something I saw so funny earlier. So D, that's been on the show from the Three Black Geeks. I saw him.
I'm sure he's got thoughts.
he said something so funny on Facebook. He said, "You know what, guys? All you AEW marks, I'm gonna give y'all something." He says, "I want y'all to keep the same energy. If Neville doesn't win the AEW championship in 1 year, then I need y'all to bury them because of the fact that you said AEW will treat all WWE people better. So if they don't treat him the same way, like he
needs to go with WWF." Yeah. I'm waiting to hear that one. When are we going to hear that one? I bet it ain't going to happen. When are we going to hear that? When are we going to hear Deer and Double or Nothing? Oh, they did Joey Janela wrong. He needs to go to NXT. When are we going to hear that? I'm waiting. I'm watching. I am watching. I am making a note. I'm ready to see that. Oh my God! If Chris Jericho beats Kenny Omega, when are we going to hear about he should have went to WWE? Enough about that other company. It's WrestleMania season. We need to stay on the topic at hand.
So two things. At the end of the night, do you think they unify the titles? Do you think the four horsewomen carry the titles high? That's been some of the buzz that's been going around. I don't know.
Yeah, here's my thinking on all that. So, from what I'm feeling, I don't see them wanting to unify the titles quite simply because the whole darn deal with you got Fox coming. You got Fox coming this fall. And I'm positive that Fox is going to want its own identity for their show, its own championships, its own everything. And once that Fox deal happens, as we've discussed many a time, Fox is going to have SmackDown. NBC USA is going to have Raw. It's going to be competing networks. So I don't think they're going to have unified title. I doubt it. I'd be very surprised. The only way I'd be okay with it, yes, it is easier to market things as winner take all. Mm-hmm. But I only want to see that if you're going to stick to it. If you're going to pull some deal like Warrior and Hogan at WrestleMania 6 and do winner take all, and then the next night be like, well, one man can't defend both titles, so the Intercontinental title is now vacant. It's like, then what's the point? You know, if you're going to do a stipulation, live up to the stipulation. If you're going to unify them, if you're going to do winner take all, then do winner take all and stick to it. Don't do something that, well, Becky can't defend both titles. She's going to have to choose. You know, no. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be both titles are on the line. Yes, Charlotte's title and the Raw title that Ronda Rousey has. And I think the deal's going to be if either one of them loses the fall, they lose their belt. So if Becky beats Ronda, she wins the Raw title. And Charlotte stays SmackDown champ. If somehow she beats both of them at the same time, she wins both belts. It's more complicated, but I think that's what they're going to do.
I like the unpredictability of this, so I'm cool with not really fancy booking this. I just love to see how they're going to play it out. Again, all the stakes are in that main event. And quite frankly, considering that this show is going to be 21 days long, the wait for it to the end for this is all worth it for me. It's just going to be this is going to be time and body management to get to that point. That's for sure. Yeah, and we talked about Kofimania. Kofi Kingston's going to Wrestlemania. Face down. Oh yeah, we didn't cover this. What am I talking about? I gotta look over these notes thoroughly before I just jump the topic. Yeah. So but anything else about the women's main event? Anything else you want to add on that?
Nah, I'm guessing that on Monday we will know, because Monday's going to be the real go home show. The SmackDown that they do this next week isn't going to be nearly as big of a deal. But on Raw on Monday, I assume they will clarify how the titles are going to be handled in the main event.
Yeah, true.
We got lots of rumors going around right now, but you know how it is until we actually hear it. Yeah. And don't assume. We don't know for sure. So I think we'll know what's going on with that on Monday. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this WrestleMania. I like just between the ladies title match and then the WWE title with Kofi and Daniel Bryan. I'm really liking those two matches. This WrestleMania really reminds me of a lot of the older WrestleManias where the focus is really on just a couple matches at the top of the card. And then you got other stuff going on, but it's like, you got 3 or 4 really big matches. You got the WWE title, you got the dual women's titles in the main event. You got Brock and Seth to a lesser extent, but it's a pretty sharp drop from Kofi down to Seth and Brock. And then you got stuff like Roman and all that, and you got AJ and Orton. You got some other fun stuff in there, but it's really those 2 big matches at the top carrying the show.
Yep,
in my mind.
Hopefully, a lot of the women, and especially in the SmackDown division, and hopefully this sparks a fire under them that they realize that times has changed, as far as getting yourself over or popular, whatever you want to call it. There's more than just coming out to the ring nowadays. It's the power of social media that you have full control over. Some of you guys got Total Divas contracts. You might want to talk to those producers and try to figure out ways to, resonate with the fans, because, the plan for the 2 to get there, sure. But Becky did. Where was Becky in the beginning of this year? To be honest, and of last year, 2018, where was she at? Or the WrestleMania year, we'll just say
she was on the pre-show last year.
Yeah, so
there you go. I mean, it says it all.
Yeah, so her match qualities and opportunities were right on par with a lot of where everyone's displeasement is now. But she did something, and she went with it. And obviously, the injury is the injury. But blood doesn't make you popular. It's how you take the situation and go with it. And look where she's at. So hopefully, with all the opportunities available now for people, for all of wrestlers, hopefully this motivates people to just be more creative within themselves, and and hopefully the opportunities that they're looking for comes their way. Anyway, talking about Kofi real quick. This is just really short. So Kofi WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan, and that's cool, because that's what the fans want. Should be a hell of a match. Two of the hardest workers that's been in WWE for a long time. Really good stories come from the 2 of these guys, and I'm sure, like, from person to person, they are overly excited to work each other, considering what this means. The storylines that, if you've been a fan of Daniel Bryan over the years, being able to kind of look at a counterpart in the extent of somebody who wasn't given opportunities automatically and had to work against it, and facing the Machine and Vince McMahon storyline that Kofi's currently dealing with and Daniel Bryan's dealt with. I could just imagine the 2 of them together after the 24 comes out with them. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of really pure moments between the 2 of them. That's an insight that we're going to get, especially from, again, how they run their social media, that we're going to find out. So beyond what we're going to see in the ring, the backstory with these 2, I think it's some of the best stuff, and I'm just sure they're just so excited to work each other. However, former, but WWE Hall of Famer.
Oh, jeez. I know where you're going here. Oh boy,
Mr. Billy Graham is he's not for this. He is just not
bitter
for this.
Billy.
Oh,
bitter.
So
lay it on him.
He wrote a post basically coming out saying, "Is WWE serious?" I turned on my computer today and went to the wrestling news sites, and this is what I see: Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at Mania. Talk is Vince is going to put the WWE belt on Kofi Kingston. I believe he's trying to say shit here. oh yeah, you're right. Shit you, not me, will have a that's blurred out. That's why I'm not sure what that says. But you will have a 145-pound WWE champion. This must have been the idea by the new senior creative Lady Dana Warrior. Like,
oh geez.
Meltzer says she has been promoted to an extremely high position on the creative team and attends meetings that only Vince, H, and Steph are in. Damn, how did she get so smart? Let's see if there's anything important here. Well, I'll just read it. My friend Hannibal has been monitoring the Monday Night Raw steady decline in TV viewership. Well, Hannibal, it dropped again last night in Boston, Monday, March 25th. Steady decline in television viewership. I predict this year Mania will be so bad that next year, 2020, will not come close to sellout. The thrill is gone. Is anyone out there really excited to see these two lightweight wrestlers for the WWE Championship? Oh, one more thing. I'd love to see Kofi at 145 put his newly won WWE belt against Brock Lesnar. Great logistics. One man being outweighed by 135 pounds. A total joke. This is a thing. Okay. So, number one, that is just pure chaos. Now, here's the thing for me. You can't get on here talking about having a credible source, but then quickly refer to Meltzer and have your statement. This is like saying, like, I talked to the dean of the department and he told me that on Wikipedia he felt like it just doesn't make sense. First of all, he's bananas. And I will say this: if Kofi was to face Brock, people will buy it because
AJ Styles did.
Exactly.
Daniel Bryan did. Ain't no big deal.
It's embedded in the American history of sports. Rocky has religiously fought bigger people. Even Creed coming out being the same thing. People love the American story of the underdog facing the big giant. So he's absolutely wrong with that notion. And two, for these two again facing each other, is he'll be surprised how many people's excited for it. This is pure chaos. I can't even believe somebody will make a statement like that. What's your quick thoughts on that?
The superstar needs to sit down off that bad hip of his that he's gotten replaced however many times, and he just needs to keep it quiet. Yeah. Someone is desperate for attention. It's WrestleMania season. I don't think he gets to work these events or nothing. He's in the doghouse with Vince. He's turned on Vince more times than turning face or heel back in the day. I mean, that guy. I know Billy Graham's had a rough time here and there, and Lord knows in the 70s he was something, but it is a different time and a different place. And it's like, sir, you don't know what you're talking about. This ain't for you to comment on. If he's watching the TV and cannot see to the extent that Kofi is over on SmackDown Live, then he is totally out of touch. Perhaps he doesn't have a pulse. I don't know. But Kofi is the hottest thing they have going. And it's organic. It's over. It's worked wonderfully. And a point that I want to make about the match with Kofi and Daniel Bryan that's really become clear in the last few weeks. The story has not been just about Kofi getting this match. It's been about Xavier and Big E with him, lifting him up to this level and being his voice to get this match. This isn't just Kofi versus Daniel Bryan. For all intents and purposes, it's the New Day versus Daniel Bryan because they're all on the same page and they're all together.
Yep, you're entirely right there. I couldn't agree more.
It's like, if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. It's like he is not watching SmackDown, or he's watching it on mute or something. Because I mean, Kofi is hot. He is hot, and size ain't got nothing to do with it. Superstar needs to go hang out with Scott Steiner and worry about size matters. The two of them can get together and do some recreational stuff. Hey.
Yeah, might as well add Buff Bagwell in there too. Oh, and Val Venus.
There you go.
Just throw them all in here together. Yeah, that's all I got on that. But yeah, so let's get into this last little topic for tonight. Now, there's been a lot of other news circling around. It's WrestleMania season. It's the biggest season for all of professional wrestling, so it's always creating all types of buzz from all over aspects in sports. So number one, I don't know if you've been under a rock or not, but ironically, Conor McGregor comes out and says he's retired from MMA. And to add to that headline, he pretty much says like he wants to be appreciated for, you know, the things he does by a company who's going to basically invest in him and stuff like that. And just the backstory to that is that Conor McGregor got a dose of some real money once he faced Floyd Mayweather, which was one of the biggest payouts he's ever had. Beyond anything, nothing in UFC can ever touch what he's been paid for that 1 7-round fight.
Absolutely.
In order for him to make that money, he's been asking, and he's came out recently about it. But before, actually immediately after that fight, he also said he wasn't done in the UFC, but they wasn't going to be able to give him a bag like that. So he wants to be a percent owner of the company. Yep. Was never going to happen.
Yeah, he wants points.
Yeah.
He wants points in the company, and UFC don't want to get in that game.
Yeah.
Because if they give it to him, then other people down the road going to ask for it, and next thing you know, they're giving off little percentages here and there. That game, you don't open that can of worms.
Yeah.
Even if it is Conor McGregor, you don't open that can of worms.
Yep. So he's out there, I guess. Yeah, that's it for him for the UFC for a while.
Yeah, at least until he sorts out whatever's going on with his legal issues, possibly in Ireland and all this. And Lord, even if that wasn't going on, we know he's played this game before. We're saying he's retired. It's a negotiating ploy.
Yeah.
Lord knows he's got money. He's got whiskey money on top of that now with the proper number 12. Heck, if you're watching Monday Night Raw, they are playing those proper number 12 ads non-stop on there. They are pushing that hard.
There's no lie there. There's no lie there.
They got some serious advertising dollars behind that. So he's not just got his fighting money. He's got his whiskey money. Yep. But the way he always this is the thing. He's got so much darn money. He's so similar to Floyd Mayweather these days. We're just how he's inevitably going to get himself in trouble. He can't keep his mouth shut. He gets into situations he doesn't need to be in, and pretty much always comes down to eventually he's gonna want some more money.
Yeah.
And the quickest way for him to make some money is stepping in that cage or stepping in a ring.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah,
I don't buy none of it. I don't know,
man. Look, anybody that's willing to cater, he's a big name. Lord knows that the UFC needs a star still. And so he's out there, and whatever his legal things are, he hasn't been charged. He was brought in for something, but he got out, made his announcement, whatever. He gets himself in casual trouble, but nothing that's really tainting to his name. So the endorsements is still rolling. So as long as, you know, those are still
ain't nobody dropping him yet.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody dropping him. Not yet.
Next name is Rob Gronkowski, also retires from the New England Patriots.
Yes.
So, you know, we know he's been very adamant about his life after the NFL. If it's not movies, if it's not him training with his buddy Mojo, who's also been on the shelves for a little bit, but also has been using social media to say, you know, so I don't know. And I the possibilities there. And then the next
and we have seen Gronk at WrestleMania before.
Yeah.
So nothing would surprise me there come 1 week from Sunday at WrestleMania 35.
Yep. And then the last bit of this this bit of casual random news that could mean implications for WrestleMania is that Daniel Cormier was on ESPN doing his thing on the new ESPN Plus app, doing what he does best on doing segments for the UFC. And of course, he promotes and he talks news for the UFC, but he's also the heavyweight champion. He doesn't have a fight, and he comes out and says basically like, well, yeah, I don't have a fight as of now, but when I do, I'll let you know. He's like, maybe I'll go to the WWE and go to WrestleMania and cost Brock Lesnar his championship so I can get him up over here quicker and get my fight with him. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean,
nope.
It writes itself, purely organic.
Oh, yeah. All eyes are on New Jersey, on Giant Stadium next weekend. All eyes are there. The eyes of the world are going to be there. If any of these major names are looking to make a statement, if they are looking to get their name out there, we know where they're going to do it. So It's a long show with a lot happening, lots of opportunities for people to show up and get involved in different ways. So is something going to happen? I don't know, but I know we'll all be watching. Yeah. So
and there's
anything
always
can happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yep. I'd be curious to see what, but like you said, I'd be excited waiting. And that's just a few things to throw out there to get some mind swirling about, possibilities there.
Get things percolating.
Yeah.
Be thinking for the next 9 days as we start getting closer and closer. We're almost there, folks, and there's a lot of shows coming up. So lots of possibilities for the next week.
So something I mentioned before that I just want to also throw out there is that we talked about a lot of people crossing the ship from the UFC to the WWE. And I mentioned a while ago that during an NXT taping that Cain Velasquez, a former UFC heavyweight champion, was also the one that take down Brock, was named in the crowd of being there, which was big to me. That they here's that guy, here's what he's done, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, he's been having videos of him training for wrestling and kind of fizzled down a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, maybe that whole WWE thing probably isn't going to happen. I think he even might have had some work in NXT, not in NXT, but in the Performance Center, whatever. But have you it, he was at the press conference for AAA, and he is set for Triple Mania.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say this is a huge miss for WWE, but that's a huge get for AAA. Considering this guy, and I think it works for him because he can't stay healthy in the UFC. But that type of physique and will to want to continue to be involved in combat sports, I think is a really good thing for him. So it is. I will definitely be interested to see how that plays out. But again, a big name like him making it, jumping shit, it's the possibilities now for life after UFC or life after WWE or whatever way you want to go in this. It's just this trifecta of sports here. They're just becoming closer and closer to each other. That hopefully the end all for them is that everyone makes money and is happy and is happy. And I really think as much as WrestleMania is going to have a lot of emphasis on possibilities, when that Fox deal is done, what is it, October next year?
October.
Or this year?
Come this fall, Fox Sports.
It's going to be a lot more things going on. So we'll
everything changes this fall. I keep saying it. I've been saying it since that deal was signed. Everything changes the day they launch on Fox in primetime network television. It's going to be a whole different ball game.
So anyway, do we have anything else to cover? Or
I think we got it, man, because we're right on the precipice right now. We got one Raw left, and by this time next week, all the big indie shows will be starting. It's good. It is the point where, man, I'm telling you, folks, start hydrating, get your rest, get ready, because especially if you going up there, all you folks gonna be coming back sick. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be crazy up there in New York, New Jersey. So get your rest this weekend. Take your vitamins. Drink the water.
No, it's
inside.
It's the truth. And like on a serious note too, I don't know if you guys remember, but people got sick leaving the Hall of Fame last year because apparently some type of code or virus was going around. They said, from a particular, I think I can't remember exactly the story, but anyway, a code went around for sure. It put a lot of people down and sick for a while. So yeah, like all that.
You get that many people together, it's a guarantee some sort of viruses are going to start spreading. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that'll do it for the week. Yep, I feel like we covered, we for sure covered all the topics I had for the day, but I think there's no other news or anything, right? Oh yeah, I know what I gotta say. Make sure again, the Patreon page is popping. We got some exclusive content on there, so if you subscribe on there, any little thing helps, keeps the light on in here. You check out some exclusive content that's not going to be released on our regular weekly podcast or YouTube or SoundCloud, any of that stuff. It will only be there. That's why it's exclusive. So, any little thing helps it, and you can see the different tiers of things you get. We're going to again continue to put out more stuff for it, but again, we're just starting it up, and we want to make sure we're not just begging for money and not actually producing anything. So, but again, it does help. It helps the logistics of keeping a podcast running. There's fees.
Got to keep the bandwidth going. Got to keep the servers going. And if we can do a little Patreon action and talk about some more sensitive subjects, some more delicate issues, then we can do that and kind of, see what we get into. We can get into the weeds on some things because this wrestling business, there's always something like going on that you can get into in that nature.
Yeah, look, I put it this way. We got the Flaming Hot Topic series. So if that's what we're giving for free,
you never know what we might be getting into.
Just think about that. But yeah, so you can check that out. It's on the website to get you there. It does have as well, it has perks as well. It's just not content, but also gives you discount on some merch and stuff that we have. We got t-shirts and cool stuff like that. All the stuff's on the website. So yeah, check it out. Give me a shout if you have any questions or DM. They're always open. And stay tuned because we got some stuff popping, especially after WrestleMania. So you got some cool things coming up our way. So we definitely look forward to engaging with you guys more. And definitely the feedback helps for sure. So we can make sure we give you guys the best of material, product, and all that other good stuff you guys are looking for. So, but anyway, for myself and for Will, I think that'll do it for tonight. So catch us next week again for our weekly episode, and we'll see you there.
There you go. We out.